Hi, friends. Welcome to our Warrior Tip at 10. I'm sorry I wasn't here last week. I meant to be, and so I didn't say I wasn't going to be because I thought that I would be able to get on here and do some videos. I thought that would be a good thing to do while we were serving in an orphanage in Mexico, and it turned out that um, the kids there just needed so much one-on-one time. I mean, they had a lot of things that we lack, I think, and they were blessed in a lot of ways, but something that they didn't have a lot of was one-on-one time and just that feeling of love and of being seen. And so I kind of would feel, I just didn't feel right taking some time away. Well, I had such short time with them to go and do like little videos and stuff. So that's kind of what happened. But I'm ready to get going again on these, and I'll be here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 ish, and get just share some thoughts and ideas about how to create these warrior families and these environments of learning and passionately and being engaged in a cause in our own homes. And um, as I was thinking about what to say today, of course, I had a gazillion thoughts from my experiences at the orphanage and the things we learned and the transformation that took place in our hearts as while we were there because of the love of those children. I try to think of what would be a good thing to share from all of that, today. And I'm sure I'll continue to share things throughout these lives and hopefully for the rest of my life, especially as I continue to go back because I'm very motivated to find a way to get back there. I told the kids I'd come back, and so I'm determined to make sure that I do and that our family comes back and visits and really just becomes a part of their lives. They were incredible, really just hardworking. Um, they took initiative when they saw a need within, our group or within when they saw one with each other, they would just step in and try to help. And um, they just were very lovable. And so it was really hard to say goodbye. We feel like even though we were there such a short time, we really became close friends. And um, we are going to miss them very, very much. And so today, as I was thinking about what I wanted to share with you guys from the experience, I thought, um, one of the things that I noticed was that, and something that we lack here a lot, I think, is just that passion for learning and passion for wanting to become our best selves. I think the reason these kids had it, the guy that was in charge of the orphanage had a very strong testimony that they each had a purpose and a plan and that they could do great things with their lives. And he was trying to make sure that they understood that and that their weaknesses and their strengths were there for a reason and that they could make a difference. And I know that that's true. I know that's true for all of them, and it's true for all of us. And I was grateful that he knew that and was trying to pass that on to them. They sung us a very beautiful song when we left about that message. I wish I would have recorded it so I could play it for you, um, but I know that to be true. And so they not the little ones as much. I mean, some of the little ones they were like, oh, I don't love reading, but they were interested. A lot of them just loved math anyway. Especially the older ones really had goals and plans for what they wanted to do with their future and the things they wanted to study and learn. And um, uh, they knew how to work hard. That's another thing that I really, really admired about them. As soon as somebody would say, okay, time to clean up the dining room, they each had job charts and they each knew what they needed to do. They'd get in there and do it quickly. I never heard anybody complain and say, I don't really want to do that, or isn't it his turn, or he didn't do it well enough last time, or whatever. There was none of that happened. Everyone was just ready to do their part whenever it happened to be their part time to do it. And um, so I know that they're going to accomplish incredible things in life. I know they're going to do good as long as they keep good hearts, which they have. As long as they don't choose a different path, they're going to do a lot of good for the world. Um, and so, as I was coming home, as we, I was thinking of this scene that happened as we said goodbye. Um, the man that in charge, the director, told everybody, and I think he did this to make it easier for all of us. But he said, "You guys have 5 minutes now. Say goodbye to all of your friends, and then we're gonna go in and go to bed." And so he started counting down, and it would be a minute. He'd be okay, 4 minutes, and he made sure that we would stick to our time. So it was really hard because we'd made such good friends with them, and it was hard to say goodbye so quickly. In a way, it was also good. It was like tearing off the band-aid fast, I think, is what he was trying to do. Um, but one little boy who was just a jokester, he was always joking around and making and teasing the kids and just being so funny and sweet and smiley all the time. He came up and gave me a really tight hug, and it's just kind of not his personality to be sentimental, but he gave me a hug And as I hugged him tightly back, he looked away. He had tears in his eyes, and he kind of just didn't want me to see them, and he kind of walked away. And I just, as I was driving home in the car, I kept remembering him and his face, and the many other kids and their faces and their hugs. And one little girl came back to hug me 3 times, even though, they had told her to go quickly. She was so, so sweet, and she's the one I mentioned in a post earlier um, that what kept looking for a time where I was alone so she could come up and sing me the song, because I had asked her to sing a song that she had written down, and she's like, "Oh no, I have a terrible voice. I don't want to sing for you." And I said, "Well, you don't have to, but if you change your mind, I'd love to hear you sing." And so she was looking for a time. She kept looking, and I kept noticing her looking at me. I was wondering what she's trying to do. And then when she saw I was alone, she ran up to me and she sung me this sweet little song. She had a beautiful voice, and she sang it very quietly so nobody would hear her. Um, but they were just like that, so willing to show us their love and so willing to show us their gratitude by singing us a song or doing what it took to let us know that they loved us back. Um, so as I was thinking of this little boy, as I was driving, I said to Heavenly Father, please let me know what I can do. I'm willing to do anything to help these kids. I just don't know where to start or how to go about it. What would you have me do? And different thoughts started coming to my head, and some of them were from before. I've Some of I've been feeling inspired to start like a little private school to teach how to find our path. That's what my book is called. But to basically do projects with each other that help us grow our resources and our talents and gifts. And so maybe it's working on a play and then putting it on and making money for these kids, or um, maybe it's a fundraising video, or it could be like growing food. I think that's an important part of entrepreneurship and learning, and is just working the ground and figuring out growing food, baking things, and having a sale, or things like that, where we're coming together using our gifts and talents to strengthen our own families, and then going out and strengthening the families throughout the world. And so this has been a dream that's been I've been kind of trying to figure out how to make come to pass. The ropes course class was the first step that I've been teaching this year, and then I want to grow that, start from there, and start to grow this dream of I have. And so thoughts about how to do that started to come to me, and maybe some of the next steps. And then later on, after we had gotten home and we had unpacked, I was looking out our window, and we have a really beautiful view out our window. And I just love looking out our window and just thinking it makes me put things in perspective. And as I was looking out at our beautiful view, the thought came to me like, are you really willing to give anything up? Even this. And I realized like it's not just about like I'm willing to do what it takes as long as it doesn't take me a little out of my comfort zone or too much out of my comfort zone. As long as it's kind of comfortable, I'm willing to do what it takes. And I feel like Heavenly Father was asking me like, really, how much are you willing to give? How much are you willing to sacrifice? Is it, if it requires moving, if it requires changing things majorly, are you willing to do that? And I don't know if that's what I'm gonna need to do. Maybe that's the next step. Maybe I need to figure out a way to sell this house and buy some property somewhere where I can actually have a big place to have this school that I'm dreaming of. I don't know for sure. I'm starting to look at those avenues, but my mind is open to the possibility now. So that might be something that I need to look into, as and talk to my family about and figure out. But I guess the question that I wanted to pose to you guys and for us all to be thinking about is how, I guess because of the way that I thought about in this orphanage, they were so in need of one-on-one attention and of resources that we have. Little things like a Rubik's cube. One little boy, he just loved playing with his Rubik's cube, and he said he knew he knew how to. Sorry, there's something going on. He knew how to do the Rubik's cube, but he also knew how to do the pyramid one, and he knew how to do the mirror one, but he didn't have those. He said, "I have a friend that has them at school, but they don't go to school right now because they're quarantined, or not quarantined. They're just not holding school. They weren't sick or anything." But he's like, when I get to see him again, he'll let me use it and I can work on those. So little things like that they needed, like little Rubik's cube. Another kid was like, "Oh, I love chess. I took some classes and it's so fun," but he didn't have a chess set himself, right? So there was just these little things that needed to happen, or that I saw and little needs of, so that they needed, but there were so many things they had that we totally lack, right? Like, and shouldn't say totally, and it's not everybody. I think several families do these things well, but just in our culture in general, like their work ethic, the way that they helped each other, the way they took initiative and saw a need and filled it, their structure. They were, immediately obedient to whatever their elders said. There's a lot of things in their culture that I think we would really, really benefit from. And their gratitude for everything. I have a bunch of their thank you cards. They have this tradition where they write thank you cards every Christmas about all the things they're thankful for. And on New Year's Eve, they open the thank you cards. They pick five random ones. The boy picks five random boy ones, and a girl picks five random girl ones, and they read them out loud to everyone. And then the rest just get left there. And so I asked one of the little boys if I could keep the cards because I wasn't sure what they were going to do with them, but not the little boy, one of the older 15-year-olds. And he said, yeah, that's fine. You can keep them. So anyway, maybe I'll start posting some of their, because they're so sweet. The things they're thankful for. There are things like a warm bed to sleep in at night, or 3 meals a day to eat, um, a warm place to sleep. A lot of them have experienced not having those things, and now that they live in this place, they have those things and they feel truly grateful for them. And so they're very sweet and tender in that feeling. Like my kids, have not having experienced those things before, were really, really touched by their gratitude and their joy about everything. The little things that we brought gave them so much joy. And so I just thought there's got to be a way to connect those two things that we both lack. And for me, I think all of us have our different ways, right? We have different gifts and talents that we can use to make the world a better place. But for me, the call I keep feeling is to make this school where we work together as families to build the resources we need to help them, and to get out there to do these humanitarian trips, to work on projects that help us be able to go and take them some of the things they need. Um, and in doing that, of course, we would learn Spanish, and we would learn entrepreneurship. We would learn how to do things like projects, whether it required cinematography or required growing food, or whatever it is that our different talents need, making a play, putting it on, writing a speech, all those sort of things that we need in order to develop our gifts so that we can use them to get these resources out to the people who need them. And so I don't know. I feel like the way I learned about this organization was actually one day when, after I had said out loud that I wanted to go on a humanitarian trip to my Growing Your Own Business class, I told them that's why I was doing this. Um, Suddenly, like a week later, someone was cutting my hair, and she said, "Oh, we go on a humanitarian trip every year at Christmas as a family, and this is where we go." And she told me the name of the organization. So sometimes when you just say things out loud, people start coming your way, and Heavenly Father will put things in your path because you had enough faith to say it, right? I just, my last Facebook Live a week ago was about that. When we have enough faith to say it out loud, a lot of times that puts things in our way that will help us start to find ways to accomplish them. And so right now, I'm not exactly sure. I don't know very clearly what the next step is, but I'm starting to share some of the goals and ideas I have, and hopefully you guys want some of that too, and we'll start having some ideas that you can share, and maybe we can start figuring out ways to do this. Um, but the title of this Facebook Live was "How to Inspire Kids to Have a Passion for Learning," and I think that that's what it is. It's teaching them that learning isn't just about getting good grades so you can get a good job and go on vacation someday or whatever. It's really about developing our gifts and talents because God has a special work for us to do. And when they start seeing that, my kids really saw that today or this last week when we were at this humanitarian trip. They started to think, what can I do to help? When they start to notice that because of the humanitarian trips, or because they see a need in their neighborhood, or they go to a homeless shelter and help, whatever it is that they start to see, like I'm actually needed, and what can I do to start developing those things? That's when um, great things start to happen. Sorry, my computer's doing something funny. So Oh, I think you can still see me. Hopefully. Yeah. Okay, it's getting kind of long. I can see that I've been going on for 14 minutes. Um, but that's what the warrior education is about. I want to help people see we are in a war, and we need to there's a war going on between good and evil everywhere. As we were in Tijuana, there we saw a lot of evil as well, and this little refuge where these kids are being raised by this incredible man, it was a place of good and light, and they want to take it out to the world, and we have so much light to give in in our hearts as well, if we can just start to tap into that and see what we can do individually, and be okay with saying, I'm willing to do what it takes, even if it takes me more out of my comfort zone than I want, when our kids start to do that, then our world will change drastically and quickly. So um, yeah, I think that's it. Let me know if you've had a transformational experience that helped you see some of these things that I'm talking about. I'd love to hear about it. Write it in the comments, share it, share some of the things that you learned. And if you have any ideas about how to bring some of these things, resources or things to have this come to be, I did mention in one of my latest post that this particular orphanage is trying to build a wall. They've worked on it for 4 years as a the kids have built it themselves as this big cement wall with, of course, the help of the director and everything. But they have 400 feet left in order to close it off. So we were there. These just people would walk right through the orphanage, and they didn't know who they were, and they did have dogs, which made me feel safer. Like I felt good that they had dogs around them that would protect them if anybody tried anything. Um, but I would feel so much better if they had the place blocked off so that these strangers weren't just walking through their orphanage anytime they wanted to. So, anyway, they need some resources for that. So, if you have anything to give, I put my Venmo on one of my posts so you can share it. He gave me an address in San Diego that I can send it to, that he drives to, the director will drive to every once in a while, and he can pick up letters or packages, or if I send him a check, he can pick that up. And so, um, yeah, if you have anything to give, or if you want to help me buy some of these educational supplies that I saw that they needed, that would be great too. Um, I don't like asking for money, but when it's for money for someone like that, it's not hard at all. So please donate if you can. I know that it's really needed. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to say. Please share any experiences you've had, any transformational experiences that have helped you see some of these principles and have helped you start to live them. And thanks for listening, and I will talk to you on Wednesday.